Me and Brian. We were in the lift, me and Brian, going down by accident. I'd forgotten something and I'd have to go back up when this crazy woman and her kid get in halfway down. When we reached the bottom, she'd get out and we'd stay in till the doors shut and go back up. She'd think we were nuts. She'd think we were nuts. I wondered if I could explain it to her, this crazy woman who lived in another block. I don't know why I say she was crazy. She just was, that's all. But you get that feeling about when you want to explain something to someone and you know they'll never understand. And you just splutter and protest your sanity and they back off looking scared. No, wait, listen. I kept talking to Brian so she wouldn't interrupt and be crazy to us. So she did. She did both. Well, did the first, was the second. What, you students? She knew perfectly well we were students, as she had asked me the same question at least 50,000 times in the very same lift. I had to admit, yes, we were students. I didn't say still or you mad old shitbag or anything. She told us one of her two stories again. Not the I was mugged in the lift last week story this time. I wondered why anyone would attack her in a lift anyway, and I figure out that the mugger probably had a lower retelling threshold than me and had done it to shut her up. Or maybe just to give her an alternative story to tell him next time they found themselves in a lift together. No, instead she gave us her memorable I want the council to relocate me story. I want the council to relocate you too, I was thinking, out of this lift. I listened to the same story I had heard 25,000 times out of the 50,000 times we'd met. Brian said we'd have to be out by the end of the summer too, being students. Said he was leaving the country, which was a lie, and I said I wasn't, which wasn't. What? Leaving the country? Where you going? I'm going to Israel. Israel? Ain't they fighting over there? But not over here in lifts or anything. I'm going to work on a farm. Because she'd think kibbutz means cannibal burglary crammer or something. A farm? I began to wish she would stop repeating the last word anyone said and decided to end my sentences with the word penguin, like George III had liked to do. Penguin, I could hear her say. I dropped the idea. The lift reached rock bottom, where our conversation had already docked and berthed, and she got out and we stayed in, and the doors closed and she gave us a weird look as the doors closed and we went back up. Those were the days, all right. Back at ground zero with whatever I'd forgotten, we walked through the estate towards the shops. Brian had to post a job application to some apprentice deputy vice trainee assistant sub-under managership thing for a big company. I needed cigarettes. He'd been having interviews and getting dressed up in proper shoes and stuff since the exam, looking a lot more shevelled than usual. I felt like I didn't know him anymore, as if I hadn't known him before, if he was going to turn out like this all along. He walked around with the air of a man who hoped he wouldn't be there for much longer. So did I, but he meant Hackney, and I meant this level of consciousness. We stood in line at the post office. The other people in the queue had all that usual post office queue thing going. Gyros, pensions, parcels, I don't know. All hopeless symbols of belonging to a place that didn't want you. I was particularly cheerful that day, you know. If people didn't come here to do post office things, would it still be a post office? It'd be an empty post office, he said. Wouldn't that just be an office if nobody actually posted stuff here? I don't know. The function of a thing is its essence. He didn't say anything. Cued. What if your mind, I said, has a capacity? What? You know, your mind. How much... Here we go. What are you like? No, like a receptacle. Not that memory thing again. No, listen, if your mind, right, is like a bowl of cherries. A bowl of fucking cherries! People from Liverpool can be very scathing sometimes. Yeah, and the identity of the bowl is defined by its contents. Like a bowl of cherries is only a bowl of cherries because of the cherries. Without the cherries, the bowl has no function or meaning. Will ya? Brian bought a stamp from the thing behind the counter. What if your mind is like a bowl of cherries and your thoughts are the cherries? If you have no thoughts, your mind doesn't exist. Are you still thinking about stuff like this? And if your thoughts are empirical, I mean, if they all come from experience, if you have no experiences, then we left the post office and started back. Don't you want some cigarettes? Oh yeah. Have you got any money?